Asia towards Turkey. Terassos, who came from Terassos? Saul, yeah, St. Paul, Saul, he came from Terassos. Okay, so those are the important roads, and that's important on this state in general, just being along the Via Maris. Here, this little board showing us the importance of Armageddon. Right here is located here, along the Via Maris. Or let's say this is a junction of two main roads. One is the Via Maris. The Via Maris was here, as you see, among mountains and hills, and suddenly those old troops came suddenly into this wide valley. And when they came here into the wide valley, that was another road came from Phoenicia, Lebanon, by the Mediterranean, crossing the valley into the Jordan Valley. Okay, so this is like a crossing road here of those two main roads. One is the Via Maris, the second road along the valley of Armageddon down to the Jordan Valley. The road actually came already from Lebanon, from Phoenicia, Lebanon, by Mediterranean Sea, and crossing the valley. And that's made Armageddon strategically as very important next to this junction, and also Valley of Armageddon in general, dividing the state between North Galilee and here the center and the land of the Samaritan. From beginning of history, people wanted to control the valley and divide the state, control the roads and divide the state. So strategically it was important. That's the reason several fights and battles occur along the valley. Or let's say when the author of the New Testament wrote that the last war on earth will be here in Valley of Armageddon, he already knew the history of battles which happened and occurred here in a valley. It's become an international word to those type of a hill with layer of different civilization. That's what they showing us whenever you press, for instance. So underneath there is another layer. Okay? Mainly the model. Yeah, the layer underneath now dated back to 3rd millennium BC. Let's say beginning of Canaanites' time, okay? Like 32 century BC, beginning of Canaanites' time. Right now, the model is showing us the layer of King Solomon and King Ahab. Okay, that's the main layer, Old Testament layer, and that's the layer we will more like focus during the visit. The main gate into the town, into the village, was from this side. It was known as a water gate because they used to go out of this gate to pick the water. You see the water source. You see the water source is next to you. Is out of the city wall. Do you see it? Yeah, you see the water source over there. Yeah, down there. The water source is out of the city, yeah? Out of the city. Until Ahab time, they used to go out of this gate to pick up the water. What is your name? I forgot your name. Gail. Whose job was to pick up the water?
The women.
Women. That was women's job.
Georgia.
Georgia.
Used to carry the water on the head. Yeah. No, they did not have a problem with L4, L5 or something, because it's always like this, it's on the head. You see all the watching tower here is all in order to guard the main gate. Okay, so water gate it's called until Ahab time. From Ahab time is changed. In a minute we'll speak about it. Right here, Solomon and Ahab, they were very famous of having stables, horses in Armageddon. Okay, and that's what we are seeing here. That's all was stable and horses. Also on the other side, yeah, you see the stables. The palace, the northern palace over there, they used to have the northern palace, or let's say the main building Solomon built. He nominated someone to be like the high commissioner of the place, and that was the main building. We can see it over there on the north part. In the middle, In the middle there is a round shaped thing in the middle. That was a grain storage. That was a grain silo, was an important thing. Stores the grain. They have a good crops here from the valley, and you need to store the grain because the grain is not only for their own use. They also use to make like a barter deal. Let's say if they have lots of grain, so used to make a barter deal and get some olive oil. Remember, coins has not been introduced yet in this period. No doubt the most attractive thing here in Armageddon is the water shaft built by Ahab. Ahab, he wanted his people to pick up the water from inside city wall. So he built a huge vertical shaft and then like an horizontal tunnel into the source and convey the water through this tunnel, hide. You see the source is out of the wall, over there is out of the wall. So he hide the access from outside and people picked up the water from inside city wall. I mean, that gives you a big advantage during the siege. If you can hide the water source from the enemies, they cannot seize the water source and people can pick up the water from inside city wall. Took him 9 years to build the water shaft, and it's no doubt is the most attractive. We will walk down, we will walk out of the tail through the shaft. And it took him 9 years. You think it's happened almost 3,000 years ago. It's kind of quite amazing, and no doubt is the most attractive thing here in Armageddon. You remember how the Bible described Ahab? What type of a person? What? Yeah, how the Bible describe him? Good, bad, yeah, kind of a brutal, so you know, he brought a pagan life, doing his life, but on the same time, he brought a prosperity of life. Understand? You know, that's happened sometimes. People forgot, you know, bring a prosperity and people forgot to whom they have to thanks. So that's the main reason, you know, he described, definitely he was brutal. You remember he killed someone called Nevo, is fine. And he took his vineyard, he killed him and took his vineyard. He married to someone called Jezebel. Jezebel. She was a Phoenician. And it's not because you fell in love, it's because you make business. It's a words of business. So he understood the realpolitik of those days. He made a lots of agreement with the enemies around. So on one hand, he brought a prosperity of life, understood the realpolitik of those days. On another hand, he brought a pagan life. So, you know, historically, he brought a prosperity, but on the same time, he was brutal and brought a pagan life. That's the reason the Bible describes him as a very evil type of a person. You can see here some pictures. That's the way into the shaft. You can see here. This was also the continuation of the stable. It is a huge complex. Saying in one of the sources, that Ahab loaned 2,000 horses from Armageddon to the king of Aram, of Syria. To the king of Syria. Came from here, from Armageddon, probably from the place which we are standing. Okay, so it's a huge complex compared to the size of the village. That's the main thing here, is the horses. An horizontal tunnel into the source. And the water was flowing through the tunnel, so let's say those people, mainly women those days, that was more like women job, used to walk downstairs until certain point, and then you can put like a little pocket or something and just pick up the water. You don't have to walk all the way down to the source, but the important thing is to divert the water from the source in, so people can pick up the water from inside city wall. Until Ahab time, you remember, people used to go out of the gate all around to the source to pick up the water. Took him 9 years to build it, and it's quite amazing when you walk through and you think they already have technology to make such a thing like this.
The old stairs is here on the right side. Yeah, you see the old stairs from Ahab